few weeks ago, we released a video on my 3 favorite portable power sanders. If you missed that video, I'll put a link in the description. But of those 3 tools, the one I use the most is the orbital finishing sander. So I thought I'd share with you 3 quick tips when using this tool. First tip when using this tool is notice that the sandpaper fits under paper clamps. There's one in the front and there's one in the back. And so the sandpaper rolls up and under the clamp. But on the sides of the tool, where there is no clamp, you can see the edge of the sandpaper is exposed. So you have to be careful of that, because when sanding wood that's splintery, plywood or Douglas fir, or some other woods that are pretty splintery, if you're not going in the right direction, if you're not careful, that edge of the sandpaper can catch that splinter and it can tear the paper, which means you have to replace the sandpaper, or it'll rip out the splinter, in which case you might have a repair to make. So whenever you're sanding, it doesn't matter in the center of the board, you can move in any direction. But when you're going along the edge, you always want to go with the front or the rear of the sander where the sandpaper is protected. If you go this way, the edge might catch a splinter and you'll run into a problem. Okay, here's tip number 2. One of the many uses of this tool is a knock off, what I call knock off the edge of a board. When you get a piece of wood from the lumber yard, it always has perfectly square, sharp edges, which is fine. But after you mill the piece of wood and sand it and prepare to use it for whatever project, you usually want to round over very slightly, knock off that very sharp edge. And there's a couple of reasons. First, it's not comfortable if it's a piece you're going to be grabbing with your hand. Also, a really sharp edge like that can splinter really easily. So you want to put a nice soft edge on that. And the easy way to do it is with this tool. You just run it back and forth and create a nice soft edge. Right? That's all you need to put a nice round edge. But what I've found is if you want it a little more round, a little softer, it takes quite a bit of time with the sander, and you wind up, of course, using a lot of sandpaper. So here's the trick. First, take the board, put it in a vise or clamp it someplace, hold it securely. And instead of using the sander to round over the entire edge, get a little bit of a head start with a block plane. It's a quick and easy way to round over that edge.
You let the tool do the work, you see? Just like you're riding a wave. You let the wave do the work.
There you go, that's pretty good. It's a little rough to the touch, but it's slightly rounded over. Then come back and finish up with the sander. There you go. After just a few seconds with the sander, perfectly smooth, round edge. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 tip with an orbital finishing sander. Sometimes this tool is called a quarter sheet sander because it accepts 1/4 sheet of a full-size piece of sandpaper. So this was a full-size piece of sandpaper that I cut into quarters, and so that's why it's called a quarter sheet sander. But what you can do is, depending on the thickness of the sandpaper, this is 220 grit, so it's pretty thin. You can sometimes put 3 or 4 pieces under the clamps. You may be wondering why I'm doing that. Well, I'll show you in a second. Yeah, secure the clamp on one side and the other side. And now you can go about your sanding job. And when one piece wears out or tears, all you need to do is just tear it off, expose a fresh piece of sandpaper, and go on sanding. Whenever you're using any kind of tool that causes a lot of vibration, especially an orbital finishing sander or a random orbit sander, get a pair of vibration absorbing gloves. They actually make gloves specifically for this purpose, and they're just half gloves. They have a really thick pad. I don't know what it's made out of, but they have a really thick pad in the palm, and that helps absorb that vibration. Well, this one vibrates a lot. So, to reduce fatigue, be sure to wear these gloves when using these tools. If you enjoyed this video, please support us by liking and subscribing. And I'd like to send a special shout out to our growing list of subscribers. Thank you very much. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, I got it.
See that? You just.
Maybe I could do it now.